what's up? It's Jake Muller here. This is Steve Roselle, and we're here at mcaffee Ski Shop in Vernon, New Jersey. And in this video, we're going to be talking about ski poles, what size to get and what size to not get. And this is, again, going to be some of it based on preference, as well as there's a reason behind what I'm saying. So I'm going to start off by saying I'm sure a lot of you, if you're in freestyle, know that most freestyler skiers will typically use a smaller pole. And I will get into why in a second. But if you were to come to a shop, what pole would you recommend to an average non-freestyle skier?
Guy, if you're just getting into skiing and you're learning to turn your ski the proper way, a pole definitely helps. And what I actually have every single customer do, hey, what size pole do I need? I say flip it over, because the point of this, no pun intended, but the point goes right into the snow. So it actually, it falls into the snow. It stabs the snow. So you flip it over and you grab it right at the basket. Because when you're standing in the line or you're making your actual turns, that's the height. That's where your hands are going to actually be. So you can see I have to kind of actually bend forward to plant this, which is not a bad thing. So that's a little bit of my preference, is I like it a little bit lower when I'm just skiing traditionally. But most customers that come in the store, I actually say make it come to about a 90-degree angle or a little less. A little bit less is better because you actually flex forward in your skis. You're in an athletic stance, and you're going to get down into the snow. If your ski pole is a little too tall and you go to plant it and you're moving, it'll actually hit you right in the chest. And that's exactly why most freestyle skiers get it nice and short.
Which is a perfect transition into what I'm going to tell you. So I don't know about all you guys, but I've definitely been to some mountains, especially on the East Coast, where you'll see a freestyler with poles that look like they stole them from their baby brother, because they just look so small and ridiculous. You're like, what's the point of even having them? Yeah. And I would kind of agree with that statement. I would say having something in your hand is better than nothing, but I don't mean go pick up some sticks off the side of the trail. The reason that most freestyle skiers will use a smaller pole is absolutely right to what you said. There have been times where I land a trick or something, like, let's just say I do like a blind 270 off a rail and I land straight, and I catch myself off balance. I put my pole down, and it's a big pole. So let's just pick this one up. And I come down off a blind 270, I put it like this, and I go to forward. I'm gonna literally pin this pole right in my mouth, and I'm going to be eating this for breakfast, and you will lose teeth, and it'll hurt, and you'll be like, that's the dumbest thing ever, I'm never using poles again. Yep. So to help avoid that, it won't always, solve the problem, but you can get a smaller pole. So let me see these. This is kind of more of a pole I'd be, interested in, and that's because standing here, if I'm going to flip it upside down, I'm going to have my arm less than 90. And, where Steve might recommend a pole that might be up here a little bit higher, this pole is going to, cause me to slip down a little bit more. But the smaller pole is going to help prevent, me from sticking that pole on the ground and hitting myself. And I actually did do that a few years ago back at Mammoth. I hit one of their jumps. I did a 3, and I came down after going pretty big on it, and my pole went in the ground because, I leaned too far forward down on the landing. Okay. And it just went right into my chin right here and actually snapped the pole in half. And I really don't know how it didn't really hurt me that bad, but it did break the pole in half. So it was really lucky that I had a small pole, because if it was bigger, I could have knocked some teeth out, and no one wants to do that.
No one wants to do that.
Yeah. So that's why I would pick a pole that kind of like isn't ridiculously small, but also is less than 90 for sure, just to make sure that you're kind of helping yourself do that. And even for the people that don't use poles out there, I would say give it a shot. I didn't ride poles for a few years, right when I got into freestyle. And especially if you're working on grabs and stuff, I can understand that. And it kind of allows you to really get your hand around the ski and, trying to figure out where your hands are supposed to go. But they do help a lot when you're just skiing. And just the fact that your hands kind of have something to do. If you don't have poles in your hand, you can be flying on them and not even knowing it. But the poles kind of keep them at your side where they need to be. So I would recommend using them, but it's all preference. I never got into actually buying expensive poles because I was afraid of breaking them and losing them with the amount of traveling I did, because they're so easy to break and lose. So I would a lot of times find cheap poles at a ski swap or something, or even if you guys have a clearance section, and I would cut them down with a hacksaw. So I'll actually make a video on how to cut down ski poles or the length you want. But for now, this is just kind of the idea of what size you need. So thanks, Steve, for helping us out. And we're going to talk about boots in the next video.
Sweet.